Hey everybody, how you doing? It's been quite a while. I have no excuses. I finally ordered the proper shift fork that I needed. When I made the original order like a year ago for the two shift forks, I got a lever style and a ball and detent style. So I had to reorder a second one that was ball and detent. Now that I have that part, they're both laying on the counter. I'm gonna go through this side cover, put the shift levers in, and seal this up. There's my cover plate bolts still in order. However, I'm not sure the order was right. So like I said, we're gonna go through the side plate completely, check all the bolt holes, check for depth, clean some of them up, get everything mounted correctly, get the shift forks in, and from there, I think I'll have a 4-speed that's just about ready to be operational. And that's good news because I'm working back on the car again. I put that back in the main service bay of the shop. And I think I got over I'm not sure if I can do this hump, and I'm back on let's get this thing running. Because I've been working on it for years and I think it's about time to make this vehicle work. I want it to run. This sat for a year inside my shop, which is not temperature controlled at all. And yeah, looks pretty good to me. Everything looks pretty decent. Little tiny bit of flash rust on some of the unpainted surfaces on the outside, but I'll take care of that before we install it again. This thing's been soaked in CRC for the past year, just sitting. I made sure to open it and spray it a couple times. So now I'm taking a little brake clean and I'm just cleaning off these mating surfaces for the side cover. They're pretty slimy, so we want to get rid of all that. Take it down to clean metal. Whenever you're putting the shift forks in, the regular looking one, I should say, goes in the front for third and fourth, and the offset one goes towards the back for first and second gear. I took the time to put the forks in and take them out, kind of clean them off, and do that a couple times because the offset one for first and second is a little trickier to get in. You just kind of have to send it in on an angle and then kind of slide it over so it lands right in the right groove. So there is a gasket for this side cover that you have to use. I'm not using it right now because I'm going to go through all the bolts and check and make sure the bolts are in the right spot. So I have a little depth gauge that I'm going to use. It's just a small drift. You can see me here just kind of checking them all. I did get this thing shot peened at the machine shop, so you definitely want to make sure all those little shot peen balls are out. That's something that can really cause a problem later and split a case. Just so make sure of that. And then right now I'm just drawing a little diagram of where all the bolt holes are on the side cover so I can write my depth next to the appropriate hole and then know what bolt goes where. The two bolt holes on the bottom right of the side cover are the deepest two, and they were 1 5/8 inches. The rest of the ones around were 1 1/4 inches deep. And make sure you have the side cover on when you measure this so you know that you're not going to damage anything when you cinch the bolts down. I kept the bolts on a piece of cardboard taped to that. It also had a little diagram drawn on the cardboard, and I had it all labeled, sort of like bagging and tagging it, you know. And that really helped later because I knew I had the correct bolts to go back in there. I just had to make sure the order was correct and the two longer bolts go into the right holes. Here on my original diagram, my two longer bolts, they're separated by one in between them, and that's incorrect. They go in that bottom right hand corner. If you're looking at the side cover, there's like a build up where they drilled it. So to me, if you notice that, then you know that that's the two longer bolt holes right off the bat. But of course, always measure it to be sure. Here I'm not going crazy with torque. I'm just mostly checking that the threads are chased correctly and that the bolts actually go in. They're not all buggered up. And throughout this process, I did find quite a few that needed to get thread chased and just cleaned up a little bit, which is to be expected. I believe the shorter bolts are actually a shoulder bolt that's designed just to be used with that side cover. I might not be 1,000% correct on that, but I remember something like that. So here I'm marking the depth of how far the thread chaser needs to go in. You might not really have to do this. It'll probably just bottom out on its own, but I don't know. I just wanted to be sure. Make sure I didn't take it too far. I had to dig through my taps and find one that worked correctly for this. I think it was 5/16 20. I'm I'm trying to remember now that I'm doing my editing. And right off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it was 5/16. Can't remember if it was like 20 on the thread count or not. I will say, when I go to finally install all these bolts, all these thread holes that got chased were really nice, and all the bolts went back in real good. Anyone that gave me any struggle in that first round of putting them in, I just chased the bolt hole, and it was worth it. Just re-cleaning the mating surfaces with brake clean again. It's probably like the third time I did that throughout the night. The more you touch everything again and again, the more you just want to go back and clean it right before you add any of your sealers or gasket stuff. This is just clear silicone. I'm doing a small, like 1/8 inch bead. Try and drag the silicone, because once you start to push it, the tip will mush out the bead and it won't be as nice. You see in a couple spots I had to go back and add a quality, decent, like 1/8 inch of silicone. And then I just lay the gasket right on top of that. Here's another great camera angle where you can see what I'm doing. On top of the gasket, I'm just adding another 1/8 inch of silicone that'll sit between the gasket and the side cover. So just a quick note on putting the side cover on. Obviously, once the silicone's down, you only have a certain amount of time. So I did a few dry runs before I put the silicone and the gasket on, just to make sure I could figure it out. And what I do is I take the shifter for first and second, and I set that in the hole on the shift lever, and then I pop in the shifter for third and fourth into the hole on that shift lever, and then kind of just work it down, and then put your bolts in. Try that a few times before you put all your silicone and everything and ruin your gasket and have to order another one. Make sure you got that down pat. I had to bust out the flashlight and one of the little scraper tools. What I'm doing is just pulling out any extra silicone in the bolt holes so the bolts don't put the silicone between the bolt and the case. So far, bolts are only going in hand tight, so they just need to be a little snug by hand, okay? Once you get all your bolts in, you're supposed to take the reverse lever and turn it clockwise until you hear a click from a ball and detent. I, however, am doing it on first and second, because I realized later on I was actually on the wrong shift lever. So I go back and do the reverse one like I'm supposed to. But yeah, I did them out of order, but everything seemed to work fine. The point of this is you do the reverse one, and then you tighten your corners on your side cover. Get them pretty good. And then you go through all your shift levers, turn them so you hear the ball and detent click, and then spin your input shaft. Oh, there's my famous torque wrench. Oh, wait. Oh, there's no guts in that. Never mind. So the torque for these are 18 foot-pounds. I just got them tight. You know, I didn't go crazy, but I got them tight with just the regular handheld ratchet. I think that'll suffice for this build. Here you can see me checking each gear. Put it in reverse, put it in first, put it in second, put it in third, put it in fourth. Check it each time, and then put it all back in neutral and let it sit that way. So like I said, I feel like I got over that I can't do this stage of the build. I just got so frustrated with trying to get stuff finished with the car and just hitting wall after wall after wall. I just had to take a break. But today was a win in the shop. I got this 4-speed back together correctly. Everything's sealed up. I'm going to let it all dry for a couple days, and then I'm going to fill it with fluid. Let it sit. Make sure nothing leaks. So fingers crossed on that one. But for the most part, I do feel like this was a win. And if you got to watch this and learn anything, that's great. I'm no mastermind. I'm just working my way through this one bolt at a time like anybody else. And I will say, for a transmission that weighs as much, considering this is the cast iron case, not the aluminum one, as soon as you try and use the ratchet, that thing will move. Like the tail shaft doesn't weigh a pound. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble trying to balance it to just get it tight. But anyway, thanks for watching if you made it this far. If you want to see more videos with the build for the 40 Dodge, they will be coming soon. I have a bunch of parts already ordered. I have a bunch of stuff I've been working on filming-wise already. So things are in the works as usual. And again, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.